You're listening to a 58 Ember production.
A 5, 6, 7, 8. Dun, dun,
I
dun,
am
dun,
ready
dun,
to
dun,
give
dun, 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 dun. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Completely Fucking Clueless podcast. My name is Sarah Alice Liddy.
And my name is Audrey Jean Flowers, and we both use she, her pronouns.
Slay. I sometimes forget that we should probably introduce ourselves to the camera now that we're filming these episodes.
It's hard. I haven't listened through to it yet, but I believe that there is a new little intro thing that you all will have heard attached to this.
Oh my gosh, there is
Yes.
this. Oh my gosh,
We have a little reveal this episode.
Okay, do you want to do the reveal or should we say it like 1, 2, 3?
Well, we don't have a plan of what we're going to say.
We didn't rehearse, so why don't you say it?
We haven't officially actually signed yet, but when this comes out, we will have officially signed with a podcasting network.
Woo! Guys, we're on a podcast network. Who do we think we are?
Podcasters.
Yes, that. I don't know. It's so crazy because today at work, also kind of life update, I am starting a new job next Monday. Very exciting. I'm going to be a creator resident at VaynerMedia.
Hey.
Very excited. But today when I was telling the team and everything, and they were like, so what are you doing with your life? And how's the podcast? I was like, yeah, we kind of are signing with a podcast network. What?
And it's a very small network, very
Yes,
new. I think
very
we're their third show that they'll have.
Yes, very
and
new.
The first show is one of the network owner or creators podcasts.
Yes.
And then one is one that they're creating. So
Yeah.
we're the third podcast.
Yeah.
But very exciting.
Very excited and honored, and we're excited to I think what is going to be really great about having a network, at least for what we do, is that I think you and me love the branding, the photo shoots, the content making of it all, but we're not strategists, and we don't give a shit about
I give a shit. I just
mean,
don't know how to fix it.
Right. We give a shit. Obviously, we give a shit about how many people listen because we want this to succeed. But yeah, we don't know how to fix it. So hopefully they will help us fix the issue.
I had to sync previously the episodes. I've uploaded them to Spotify and Apple separately.
Yes.
But there's something that I had to do for them that I for so long tried to get them synced up, and I finally had to for this. And it turns out all I had to do was just message Spotify and ask them to do it manually. But I finally did it because of this. Sorry, there was a slight buzzing, and I
know. I was
lost my head.
You guys, I pressed my phone. I was like, is it my phone that's making the buzzing? We lost our train of thought there. But yeah, I know it's a really exciting opportunity.
It is.
And yeah, we can't wait to bring you guys, hopefully. It's still the same podcast.
Yeah.
But now just
there's not going to be radical changes. It's
No.
just there's a slight little thing at the bottom of our
yeah.
cover photo, and there's going to be an addition to the intro and outro that we haven't listened to yet, so we don't actually know what it is.
I know. I meant to do that at work today.
I did too, but
I completely forgot. I know. I think it'll be nice. I said this in a little form that we filled out with the network. I was like, I'm really excited to just have an extra pair of hands and an extra brain.
Yes, I'm excited to have other points of view.
Yes.
But they made us a beautiful notion.
Guys,
it's so sexy.
This notion is it's everything
It's
I could have.
perfect.
I know.
It's got files within folders and tabs and colors and.
I'm in it right now because I'm trying to pull up our notes for today.
Oh, yeah, probably smart. I don't know where my phone is.
So that we don't forget what we're talking about. Yeah, well, since this is the first episode of Pride Month, we will be getting into
Gay.
Yes, that. If you were around last year, we did a little solo episode, just kind of digging into our identity, sexual
and we covered
identity.
a lot of our beginnings of being queer. So if
Yeah.
you want to hear our I feel like we covered coming out stories and the realization of being gay
Yeah.
in last year's episode.
So
So
if you're
I think
curious-
it's named Sarah and Audrey's
Queer
Adventures or something like
Yeah.
that.
So if you want to hear the origins, go back to that. This will be kind of diving into
Where we're at now.
Yeah, where we've been the past year as queer girlies living in this world.
And I feel like both of us, something that we kind of have been thinking about a lot is queer joy, particularly with
Yes.
everything happening in the world. And even in media, you so often when you do get queer stories, it's always heartbreaking. And there is very much the trope of bury your gays.
Yes.
And so just having queer joy and getting to hear like queer people just be happy.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's important. Olivia always brings that up.
Yeah.
And is always like, you know, especially when we interview queer people, I'll always ask Olivia's a point of view on questions because I just think that they are very ingrained in the queer community and has a good brain. I was going to say has a good set of brain, but that doesn't make sense.
Has a good set of brains. Yeah. Olivia actually rotates between several brains.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so they always are like emphasizing queer joy and like you should ask questions that emphasize that in addition to like the real things that people experience.
Because both are important.
Yeah. Being a queer person, it can be hard. But we're excited to dive into that later today. But until then, we have some life updates because we've done 3 guest episodes in a row. We've thrown you for a loop. We were like, we're taking a break from guests for a month.
Here's the thing. We told you we were taking a break from guests after we'd already been taking a break from guests. But when we were kind of stopping taking a break from guests, we made it confusing.
I know. So we had like 4 solo episodes in a row. Then we did 3 guest ones. And now we're back. And hopefully over the summer, we can find that like back and forth rhythm again. Yes. But it also may be hard because I am starting this job and it's full time, you guys.
I think we're about to like sort of like re-find our balance and rhythm. I think we've been out of rhythm for a couple months because of me. But I feel like with my life settling down and you getting the job, I feel like we're going to find a new rhythm and I'm excited to see what it is.
Me too. I know. I like lives evolve and change. You know what I was thinking about? I was using the bathroom before we started and not that you guys need to know that I was peeing, but I was peeing. But I was thinking about this. So when Meg came on the podcast, she was like, that statistic of you will have 9 jobs on average.
You're on to job 2 or 3.
No, I'm on to job 3 because I had nanny.
Yeah, my brain forgot nannying for a sec.
Yes, the TE, and now this one. I'm like, I'm on job 3. I'm like, wait, what percentage is that?
3. It's a third, 33.3.
All right, I'm a third of the way there.
Fierce.
I know. So yeah, what's going on with you?
I have my grandmother's service this weekend.
Yes.
For you, it will have been this past weekend. You, the listener, not you, Sarah. So a lot of feelings about that. And I think it'll be nice to sort of have it be done with. And I feel like it'll be like very much we're trying to make it like a celebration of life. Like we're not wearing black. We're actually all wearing.
I love that.
Yeah. I had actually brought it up to my mom but I think she separately also had this idea of like, I asked like, do I have to wear black? I'd like love to wear. So she was very much known for blue and green. Like her entire closet, only blue and green. Like if anyone showed up wearing blue or green, she'd be like, you're wearing my colors.
Aww.
And like anything anyone bought her was always blue and green. Like it was her thing. And so we're all wearing blue and green. And I really tried to find something with flowers and I did. I found something with hydrangeas on it, which is a flower she really liked. And a flower that we had in my parents' garden growing up. So I think it'll be nice for everyone to sort of like close the door a little bit. And I know it's been like weighing on everyone. And so I think it'll be nice to just sort of like, I think it'll help allow the wound to sort of heal over a little.
For sure. Honestly, I kind of like how your family has done it. You've kind of waited.
We waited because my cousin was abroad and we didn't want to have it without her.
Yeah, I guess like, I mean, the only experience I've had with like wakes and stuff was my cousin and my papa. And it's just like happened so quickly. Yeah. And I guess maybe, I don't know. I could see the benefits and pros and cons of both ways.
I'm glad that we had extra time. I would have maybe preferred a little less,
yeah.
But I do actually think it was really nice to have time.
Yeah.
So that'll be. I was joking to my therapist earlier today that like we're gonna look dressed much more cheerful than we are because like normally when we see people all in black, it's pretty big giveaway of like, oh, they're going to a funeral, have just left a funeral. We're all gonna look very fucking cheery.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like a celebration of, you know,
life.
Of life. And that's, if those are the colors that she liked, I bet she'll be happy that y'all didn't just wear black.
Yeah. So I think it'll be nice and I'm gonna get to spend a little bit of time with my family.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing that I had that I wanted to touch on was
your dating life.
My dating life. There's not really an update. The update is kind of a non-update. I decided that I want to start dating again this summer, but I want to do it for the plot. like for the gag, for the stories, not for finding a partner. I would say something that actually has genuinely been holding me back is like like my life kind of being a complete clusterfuck. But do you want to know like what has actually been a large part of it?
What?
My fucking warts. I can't date. I can't go on a date and have fucking finger warts. I can't give someone finger warts. So I'm trying to make a dermatologist appointment. I got partway through and then it didn't like my phone number, so I need to try again tomorrow. I need to get rid of these fucking warts.
Oh, that stings. I know. I had an ex that had finger warts, but we were already together. But when we were together, I was like, I don't want you to touch like my bits and shit with your warts. Like,
I mean, I even get nervous like washing my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So I'm like, these fuckers need to go. Because they keep coming back and then leaving. But like right now, this finger's really bad. I literally have my finger covered in Band-Aids right now because I was like, this can't be seen.
Oh no.
This needs to go away. And I keep having paranoid dreams about having to get my finger amputated.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's not a thing that could happen from warts.
I know.
But it is still something that I keep getting scared about.
Well, I'm excited for you to start dating again because it was funny. I was re-listening to the episode we did last year, the Queer Adventures one, and you had been on a date.
Yes.
And like, I was like, oh my goodness.
I now haven't been on a date in a hot while.
That's okay. But I'm excited for you to get back out there.
Yeah, it'll probably be at least another month before I actually do.
Also, it's the summer. Everybody's starting to get into a good mood. The weather has been gorgeous.
I want to get free drinks.
Right. Like people are ready for their like, right. The whole like idea of like cuffing season because it's like cold and like everyone's inside. But now everyone's like ready to meet people.
Exactly.
So you got to get yourself
I'm on the way
there.
to steal your bitch.
Boom.
Just give me a month to get rid of my fucking warts.
But also, did you see Alana from Seeing Other People? Her and one of her friends are like opening a matchmaking service.
I did see that.
I'm like, that would be interesting.
I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So all the cool things in the dating world. Slay of the day. Yeah, my only two life updates were new job, slay of the day. And then I performed at 54 Below this weekend.
She was fantastic.
Thank you. It was so exciting, but like so nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit. So we had like a sound check earlier that day. And honestly, I think that was more nerve-wracking because you're singing in front of like a bunch of singers and performers. And then my actual performance, it was funny. I started the song and I felt fine, and then I started getting nervous throughout because I think sometimes like you can feel your body shaking.
Yes.
You're wondering if other people can notice that.
You start getting all this adrenaline rushing through you.
Yeah, but otherwise I was like, I think I did a really good job. I feel
you
like
did a great job.
Thanks. I was like, I feel like it's the best I've like sounded in a really long time, and also the song I sang was just really I connected to it a lot. It's called Little Miss Perfect, and it's about like a character who, you know, has been quote unquote perfect all her life. Like she describes herself like straight hair, straight A's, straightforward, but she's not straight.
Boom.
And so, yeah, I felt really connected to this character's journey. So I felt like it was great. And honestly, I told my mom, I was like, it felt like because I had a voice teacher growing up and she would have a recital every year for her students. And I was like, it felt like a recital because everyone was just so like encouraging. Like it wasn't like I was, you know, I think the nice thing about it was like there was no casting directors, agents, or even if people like that were there, I did not know or care because I was like, this is for me and what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah.
So it was such a cool experience. If anybody wants to know this hot tips, you know, like the place where people take the picture in front of the 54 Below thing, that's 10 floors up.
Olivia had mentioned that to me. I was like,
I
Olivia
never
was
knew
asking,
that.
or someone was asking where they were, and I was like, oh, backstage. And Olivia was like, yeah, apparently backstage is 10 floors up. And it's like, that's very funny.
An elevator, and the elevator is wonky. Like it's so slow, and like once you get down to that like level, it just like it like sits there for like a minute, and then finally. And I was like, "This
I hate that."
Yeah, I was like, "Am I gonna get stuck in here?" But yeah, the last 2 weeks of my life have been insane. Like finishing up my internship, interviewing, and getting this job, and then like all these other things. And I'm so blessed for everything that's happened. But I'm also excited to like hopefully take a deep breath this weekend and just try and find some zen.
Yeah.
I know. I told Olivia that I don't want to spend more than 1 hour on TikTok a day this weekend. We'll see if I make that happen.
I believe in you.
Yeah, I don't know. I like really want to make content because I haven't been making as much, but also I'm like, I feel like I should take a break.
Yeah.
It's like hard because it's like you want to do it, but also like, I don't know.
Dude, I don't have the answer either.
I don't have the answer. Speaking of no answers, we have some clueless moments of the week for you all. It's been a second. Clueless moments of the week. Pow!
I don't remember what mine was.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
I wrote one down, but I don't remember what it is.
Okay, do you want me to tell you what yours is, or do you want me? LOL, Audrey doesn't have our notes in front of her.
Oh, yeah. You can go first.
Okay. What did I say? Oh, honestly, this is a perfect segue. I was just saying to you guys, I have been so overwhelmed the last few weeks. And one, I'm really proud of myself because in the past, especially these past couple years, whenever I felt overwhelmed, I would cancel everything or just like find ways, because I was so scared of like burning myself out again. I would try and like find ways to like have more resting time, but it would just like, it's one of those things where you cancel one thing and it ends up just piling up because it's not serving you. So I'm really happy I didn't do any of that. I did reschedule one thing or one of our recordings because I was like, I actually need to take a break or I'm going to be crazy. But otherwise I was like, I feel like I balanced everything really well. And I also kept telling myself like, I will not be this busy forever. Yeah. Like I have great things going on right now. It's a little bit overwhelming, but like I can do this. And then like when there's a time in my life that is not as busy, like you be grateful for that time too. Yeah. So, but something that happens to me when I get really busy is all my fucking routines go out the window. And it bothers me so much. Like I had started going to SoulCycle a bit more and just like kind of being more aware of some of my routines. Like out the window, like having gone to SoulCycle and look, it happens, but also I'm like, why can't I sort of figure out how to find the balance of both? And I think that is my next challenge for myself. The next time I get really busy is like, how can I like throw in some movement or just throw in something that like is like anxiety relieving, stress relieving. Yeah. But that's my clueless moment because I swear I do this all the fucking time and it bothers me so much.
My clueless moment is also about routines. I kind of started to get into a groove and I fell out of it a bit in this past week and like my sleep schedule got kind of fucked up.
Same.
Yes. And so I had therapy today and I was talking about that and I was like, I'm trying to give myself grace. Like it's the week like leading up to like my grandmother's service and like I'm just trying to like let it be like it's a bad week and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Or not a bad week, but not a great week. And she was like, I don't really ever hear you say that. So like, and I was like, well, you know, I've tried being mean to myself about it for a long time and that hasn't worked. So I'm attempting to give myself grace. And
there
she's like, is there a part of you that thinks that's kind of like BS or do you like really fully believe that? And I was like, oh, there's absolutely a part of me that believes that's BS. That like doesn't believe that at all. But I'm attempting to my clueless moment is like if I keep sort of pretending and like sort of saying and attempting to give myself grace, will I eventually actually give it?
Right.
I hope.
It's like that thing where you like train your brain to like you keep saying that thing so your brain finally starts to actually believe it.
So am I really giving myself grace? Not entirely. Is there definitely a part of me that's beating myself up about it? Yeah. Am I trying to just release it? It's the past. You can't fucking change it. I'm attempting to. Exactly.
I feel like the more we just like beat ourselves up about it, it just like ruminates and it just keeps going downward and downward. It doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. So every time I get in that little spiral of like, you're a terrible person, you're a piece of shit, I'm just like, hey, that's not going to help. So let's just calm that down for a second.
Yeah. That's like a really good thing. I think like sometimes with these spirals, like the best way to get yourself out of it is to like notice the thought and be like, this is like a thought that I'm having, but like, is this thought really helpful for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We love therapy. We love being mindful.
I found it really funny when my therapist was like, is there a part of you that thinks that's bullshit? And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, I love that your therapist asked that. Like, that's a really good question because I think even somebody like...
Well, because she knows me. She was like, huh, I've never heard you like say that before.
I've never heard you be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
So.
I was like, yeah, thanks. Thriving.
Like somebody wrote in something like similar to that, like having trouble like trusting and believing themselves.
Yeah.
And like that is such a real, true feeling.
I mean, I still occasionally am like, maybe I'm not depressed. Maybe I'm just a piece of shit and a lazy person.
Literally, like it's so crazy. Like sometimes, like when I said, hey, like, can we reschedule this thing? Like I'm just really need to take a second and take a break. A part of me was like, do I really need this break? Like, do I really need, like, should I be doing this?
That's the thing is I'll be like being like, maybe you're just being lazy. And it's like, no, you couldn't get out of bed for a whole day and didn't leave your apartment and haven't eaten. That's not being lazy. That's being depressed.
Yeah. I think it's just like how our society like treats those certain behaviors that makes us think that we're lazy, we're not good enough, like all those things. And I feel like that's why people can't like quickly recognize that those are actually like maybe some red flags.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those are the clueless moments of the week. Before we get into our main little topic here, I want to do a little TV show moment. Did you watch Queen Charlotte?
Yes, I watched it ages ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm late to the game. It was okay.
It was.
I think it's my favorite one.
I think so too, because it like has more like sort of depth to it.
Oh my God. The story. Sorry, spoiler alerts. Click ahead. Sorry, click ahead. Was heart-wrenching. There were tears in my eyes most of the series.
I'm gonna be honest though, like something about the actor for King George, he's really objectively attractive. He didn't do it for me.
Oh no, I wasn't. Yeah, I could tell he was attractive, but he didn't do it for me either. I think it was just such a not cool. I don't want to say the word cool, but such an interesting dynamic that they were portraying. And I loved that their two like right hand men were like together. I was just like, and then when she like asked him if he ever got married, and then he's like dancing by himself in the courtyard, I was like, what happened to him? Did he die?
I know. The main two theories I've heard are either that he died or that like both of them are very dedicated to their person. And with George being so off, he was very dedicated to them, and it just they couldn't make it work.
Yeah. Ugh. It was so
either
good.
sad.
If you haven't watched it, like I think it's the best of all the seasons.
A show that I watched that is really good is called Maid. It's on Netflix. MAID. It's really well acted and really beautifully done, and it's about a woman getting her daughter out of like her boyfriend, the father of her child, is like emotionally abusive, and is like trying to get out of that. And it's just like it's really beautifully done, and like it covers how like there's so many like governmental hurdles that you have to go through, and like how difficult it is. And it was just like it was very funny and like poignant and heartbreaking and just like really beautiful done. And I feel like I haven't heard that much about it.
Ooh, okay, maybe I gotta check that out, because I'm like don't know what to watch tonight because I finished Queen Charlotte. XOXO Kitty.
Yeah.
Okay, call me weird, but XOXO Kitty was some of the best television I've seen.
It was bad good TV.
Yes, it's bad good TV, but I think I was watching it because I think it's obviously geared towards like high school students, and so I think I'm watching it from the lens of like, what if I got to watch something like this in high school?
Yeah.
It's just like so progressive in like the way that they have so many queer people in it, so many like different, and I love.
It was like perfectly silly and dumb and like very predictable plot twists, but like very fun.
It was so good.
And sometimes things can just be fun.
Exactly. Like I love a good lighthearted show like that.
Yes.
And then have you watched The Ultimatum Queer Love?
I haven't watched it yet.
Highly recommend.
So I've been wanting to watch it, but the reason I haven't is, you know how Netflix enacted that like new thing?
The home thing?
Yeah.
I don't even understand what that means. Like
it's a crackdown on password sharing. It's basically like there's going to be an IP address, and like as many people can want, or people can stream from one account from that same IP address.
Yeah.
But it's basically to crack down, like you can't have multiple households on the same account. You can if you want to pay for it, but my sister and I have been mooching off our parents, and I don't honestly know if they even know about what has happened. And so when I click into it now, it like gives me all these things of like, you have to choose like, is this the home IP? How is this working?
And you're like,
and I was just like, I don't want to click the wrong thing, so I just exited out.
Yeah, I started it. They now Netflix, like, they're the ones that made us binge watchers, and now they're like keeping the shit from us. So the next set of episodes comes out tomorrow, but I've watched the first batch.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Such interesting dynamics.
There's really interesting things happening with streaming right now. I mean, like, I don't know if you've heard about like HBO and like Disney pulling so many of their titles. Like, I didn't know HBO
really?
had pulled Westworld. You can't watch Westworld on HBO anymore.
I'm not a huge HBO Max watcher in the first place, or Disney, so
I'm not
maybe
a
that's why.
huge one, but so Disney owns Hulu, so they're also pulling Hulu shit. Which like makes me sad. Of like, there's a lot of like little random things that are getting pulled. But I was shocked they pulled Westworld because that was the big one. But it has gotten me back in I used to pirate TV shows back in the day, and it got me back. If there was a TV show, I was perfectly happy to like pay to watch it that I wanted to watch, that I just find really interesting, called Made for Love, that was on HBO, but they pulled it and it's not currently available anywhere. So I pirated it, which really brought me back to like middle school, early high school. But you know, that may be what I'm going back to, because I really want to. Have you heard about the show Idol?
No.
It's a new HBO show coming out. It's the one starring The Weeknd and Lily Rose Depp that's caused a lot of controversy.
Okay.
It's about like a sort of like, it follows this pop star and sort of like the dark side of like sort of that stuff.
Okay.
And it was originally led by a female director and was like very much like through that lens.
Yeah.
And then the female director left the project. I don't know in what way. I don't know if she chose to leave or got fired or what it was. And Sam Levingston, who's the
Euphoria boy.
Euphoria boy.
Yes.
And it's like, it after the Cannes Film Festival where it premiered, it had like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, and people have been like, it's just glorified like rape fantasy.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that like wants to see what it is, but I don't want to give the streams to that show.
Right,
so I'm just gonna pirate that too, baby.
And that's the tea.
If you're the cops, you're the law. I'm kidding.
Just jokes.
I'm just kidding. I'm a kidding silly little girl.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not a silly little girl. I'm a kidding silly
woman.
big woman. But I forget how I got to that.
Anyways, that's our little TV show recap. Period. All right, you guys. The only annoying thing about this camera situation is that we have to stop 30 minutes every 30 minutes so that we can.
Which this time turned out really well to actually work section wise. In the future, it's definitely just going to happen at a random place.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of keeping track of the time and seeing like trying to align things.
Hot.
Yeah, I'm just like a podcaster or whatever, you guys. All right, let's talk about being
gay.
Yes, being gay, being queer, whatever your chosen word is. I've been really into the word queer before. Not before, now.
I use queer to define myself. I use gay when I'm trying to be funny.
Yeah. I feel like in the past I haven't been as like fond of the word queer. I don't know why.
I really like it because of how general it is. I
Yes.
don't use the word gay to describe myself because that feels inaccurate on several levels. But queer I like because it's so broad and encompassing.
Right.
Encompassing.
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning of coming out and like embracing who I am in like 2020, and Olivia would always use the word queer, and for some reason it just made me feel like not in a like a bad way towards our community, but just like kind of weird.
I mean, it's a word with a lot of complicated history. I mean, like
Yes.
a lot of our generation like it, but a lot of generations above us aren't as fond of it because of
Right.
its history.
Right. And I think just like the more I used it, I was like, wait, this is actually just like such a great term.
It's a catch-all.
Right. And I'm like, let's just use this word. But I do like the word gay. Now I feel like I'm like more grossed out by the word gay. Like not like grossed out, but like, you know, like I'm just like, I'm like, do I like the word gay as much as I like the word queer now? I don't know.
I don't use the word gay to describe me, partially because I like any genders, and I feel like it tends to imply just liking your own gender.
Yeah,
and
true.
secondly, because it's mostly used to refer to gay men,
Right.
and gay women. Gay is not used to describe women as much.
Yeah. Oh, and if anybody is like new here and doesn't like know how we identify, I like identify like as like bisexual, queer, pansexual, like in that realm?
I didn't say bisexual or queer. I used to, when I first came out, I identified as pan, and I just, for some reason, just don't. I think I just don't like the word pansexual as much.
Yeah, I don't love it. I was like, are we recording stuff?
We are. I didn't stop it,
Oh,
but
sorry.
like I know like some people are like, oh, I feel like bisexual can be like exclusionist to like, because I think a lot of people traditionally thought of it as being like bi as and attracted to both men and women. I think of it as I'm attracted to my own gender and other genders.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, is it wrong to say that I'm bisexual because I have a non-binary partner?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, does that include them in my picture?
That is the way I see it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just something about the word bisexual is hotter than pansexual.
Oh, it's so much hotter. I love the word bisexual. I think it's a great word.
I would really love to end up with another bisexual.
Yeah. Olivia's technically bisexual.
I love that.
Yeah,
them.
not technically. Olivia, technically, Olivia is bisexual. Yeah. So let's get into some of these things that we've written down, shall we? So how are we feeling differently than we felt a year ago about like our relationship with our identity?
I both feel more comfortable with it, but also more disconnected. Just like I feel more like, I think just with every passing year, that sort of anxiety of like not feeling like gay enough or not feeling straight enough or whatever subsides a little bit. But I also feel more disconnected because like I really haven't been dating. I really haven't been just engaging with like that aspect of myself at all.
Right.
So I do feel like a little weirdly disconnected.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like for me personally, I feel like in the last year, I've tried to like really embrace like the fears that I have around my sexuality, because I think like what they don't tell you about coming out, and I see this a lot, is that you continue to come out.
Yeah, no, it never ends.
Right. And you also like all the shame, all the things that you've pushed down for so long, they don't just like
go away,
fly away like fairies. Like they're still there. And I think like something I finally ended up telling Olivia, because I felt so guilty about it for so long, was like, okay, what if Olivia and I break up, my partner and I break up, and no man ever wants to be with me again because I have been in a queer relationship? And I've like debunked this in therapy so many times. And my therapist always says like, why would you want to be with a person that doesn't accept who you are? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what if there's nobody out there? And she's like, Sarah, like, can we be realistic? Like, will nobody ever? And so that was like a big fear of mine, was like, what if Olivia and I don't work out? Like, will any guys look at me like the same? Or like, will anybody be interested? Like any guy specifically be interested? And then I was like, why am I only focused on men in this equation? I think a lot of like my struggles with my sexuality always come back to men, because that's like we've taught.
been so trained, taught, and ingrained, our entire lives.
Right. Like I also like struggled a lot with like, oh, like I feel like I need to have sex with a guy one more time to just be like is this
just double check.
Right. And Olivia's so fucking funny. Olivia's like, you really need a penis to like figure out who you are. I was like, Zam,
you can buy one online if you want.
Literally. You know what's crazy? When I was watching the Ultimatum Queer, I was about to call it the Ultimatum Queer Eye, the Ultimatum Queer Love. So I don't want to like spoil anything, but somebody has sex with somebody that they're like not supposed to. Okay.
Very classic dating show.
Exactly. And they like penetrated each other. And so,
I don't know why that was really funny.
just using some correct scientific terms around here. So they penetrated each other, and the original like girlfriend of the person was like, you were inside my girlfriend. Like, how dare you? And I think I've always kind of struggled with that part of like women on women sex, is like Nancy Purdy warning. Sorry, I didn't say that. Nancy Purdy warning for our Nancy Purdy people.
A lot of this probably should be a Nancy Purdy warning, just general.
Yes. I think like a lot of the times I was struggling with women, like with like women loving women sex, because I was like, there's like the penetrative element is
Well,
very like new and different to me.
It's not what we've been taught. I mean, like, there's to a large degree, we're kind of taught like sex ends when a man comes.
Right. Oh my gosh, you guys, like literally, I'm like being very open right now about this, but like it was hard with sex for a while because I was literally like, something feels like it's missing, but it's not between us. It's between like this, the
even
idea.
when there's not a man in the room, the male gaze is still very present.
Literally. And so like when I was watching this episode and she was like, you were inside my girlfriend, I was like, yeah, like she is the one inserting something inside the other one. Like she was inside her. So it just like helped kind of like change my view. So like literally every day I'm still like learning and becoming and debunking all these like fears that I have because
it's taught literally from fucking birth. As much as the conservatives are fucking pissed and stressed about queer people grooming their children, or like, why does gay stuff need to be taught so early? You are pushing these heteronormative ideas from the moment these children are born.
Right.
Like, oh my God.
Right. Like it's still like is something I struggle with all the time. And it's like weird because I feel like more authentic in who I am. But like also like, yeah, we were taught like since like forever ago that like when I love that you brought up like when the man finishes, like that's when it's supposed to end.
Well, because like I'm debating if I want to say this.
Okay.
Like as I've spoken about before, like towards the end of like my last relationship, I was on a really high dosage of antidepressants.
Right.
And like one of the issues sort of within a relationship was sex. And like it reached a point where like I was not really enjoying it, but I was just like, how fast can I get him to come so that this can be fucking done?
Yeah. It's so interesting because like even now, like when I am using like toys in a penetrative way, winky wink, guys, I'm so awkward. In a penetrative way, I'm like, so I get to choose when this like stops.
Yeah.
And then when it stops, I'm like,
so I own 2 different dildos, and I actually bought dildos because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think there was like any part of penetrative sex that I enjoyed, because to be honest, I never particularly enjoyed it with any partner I'd been with. And that's been part of my own journey of like sort of discovering that and like dealing with like my own sexual trauma and etc. blah 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 blah. But I forget where I was going.
I think it can be enjoyable. Like I think it can be. I mean for me personally, like it's like a couple rounds and I'm good. But like back when there was a person with a penis attached to their body in the equation, like it became usually like it. Yeah, there's
pain involved.
Right, there's a lot of pain involved because I think there's this element where you feel like you can't control it, even though you do have the control. Like you should be able to have the control. You quote unquote don't.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard. And then I think also something that I'm continually addressing is like my like being open and proud about my relationship with my parents.
Yeah.
My parents support me and everything, which is amazing, and I'm very privileged to have that. And I think I hold myself back in front of them, and I hold my relation back in front of them because I don't know why. I guess like I don't want to say it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. I like, and like, this is so like new to be this person in front of you guys. Like, I'm like, am I making them uncomfortable? Is it weird to see me kiss like my partner? Like all these things.
Even with super supportive family members, it's like, there's still an element of it being scary. Like I'm the last of several like very gay children. Like I knew it was not gonna be an issue. I never even formally came out to my parents. They were like, where are you going? And I was like, on a date with Skylar. And that's how they found it out. But it's still like, I still get nervous.
Yeah, it is. It's so nerve-wracking. Even like the other night at 54 Below, like, you know, I kissed Olivia in front of my mom, and I was like, oh my God, like, should I have done that? Like all these things. It's nerve-wracking. When Olivia and I are by ourselves, like I feel like a lot more like comfortable. Like I don't really give a fuck. But yeah, in front of my parents, in front of my family, it's a lot harder.
I have kind of the opposite worry of the thing you were talking about earlier, Whereas like I get nervous that like no women will want to date me because I've dated a woman before, or I haven't dated a woman before. Like not seriously, like I've gone on a couple dates, but like I've been in, I'd say 1.5 actual relationships, and they were both with men. And like I get really self-conscious about that. And like there is very much like a degree to which like some queer women don't want to date queer women who have not dated women before, which is fair because I've watched a lot of friends go through it with that situation and like date women who like aren't even out yet sometimes, and like that can cause like a lot of heartache and everything. But like I get really insecure about it, of like not being taken seriously, or like straight up I've not had sex with a woman. What if I'm bad? I mean
look, like, I mean, you could be naturally gifted, but I feel like most people, like, you know, I think like the thing about sex is like, I think when you get with a new partner, there's always a learning curve, whether you're like the best sex on the planet.
Just overall in general, this is a fun fact about me. Not a fun fact. I don't know. I'm getting nervous now. Like sex is still very nerve-wracking for me. It's not something I am like very comfortable with. And
and I'm gonna be really honest here. I think people aren't as forthcoming about how like much sex is either like something like that makes them nervous, or something that is, you know, a topic of conversation in their relationship that them like you and your partner struggle with. Like I know Olivia and I have our moments with sex. It's hard, and the thing is when you're a horny high schooler, like it's a lot different. You're just like fucking like bunny rabbits. But then you get older and there's things like jobs and families and all these other circumstances that come into play that affect your sex life. Like I never knew these things would affect my sex life, but they do, and that's okay. And I think it's okay to be nervous. Like I still get nervous sometimes.
But so I get insecure about dating women, not having dated a woman.
Ready? But just as my therapist said, would you really want to be with a person that's gonna like ex-nay you?
Here's the thing. I say no, but like I have good friends who have been like, I don't want to date women who have not dated a woman before.
Have these friends all dated women before?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it'd be rude to be like, I haven't dated a woman before, but I won't date a woman who hasn't dated a woman.
I guess you just need, you have to find your right person, because I feel like look, I understand where this person is coming from, but like, why? I guess my thing is like, why? Like, if you really like this person and you've never like, you know, why?
Yeah.
But I get that that's a fear.
But yeah.
So do you have any memories you wrote? What was one sign as a kid that you were going to be gay? In parentheses.
Funny. See, well, I wanted to tell you what I like, the tone of voice that I meant with it.
Oh, okay.
Not like serious dark moments, but like a silly goofy moment.
I wish I had a moment. Like I whenever I listen to people talk about their sexuality and their journey, there's always like this like moment where they were like, that was the moment I should have realized.
I had a whole era. I was cast as Peter Pan in like, not like actual Peter, the theater that I went to or performed at or did shows at as a kid, only did original shows, but they would often take other properties and twist them. Like we did a musical version of the Phantom Toll Booth.
Okay, slay.
But we did like a sequel to Peter Pan, and I was Peter Pan.
Sequel to Peter Pan.
We also did a sequel to Cinderella, but like not the movie sequel to Cinderella, our own separate sequel to Cinderella.
Okay.
I was Peter Pan, and so I went and cut my hair in the little Peter Pan haircut for it, and I kept that haircut for a long time. And like I was a real like tomboy for a good part of growing up.
Yeah.
And I very much only wore. Did you ever see those like Bermuda shorts that were like patchwork different plaids?
Yes.
Those shorts.
That's funny.
Those shorts are the reason I should have known.
Shorts.
Yeah, those shorts.
Yeah, I feel like I never really had a moment. I would say my moment is when I fell for Olivia when I was 12 years old. That's when I knew it could be possible for me. Like Olivia was my first kiss. Like that's just like how I knew. And so I feel like it's just been a part of my life for like so long, but I hid it for so long. So, but yeah, I wish I had one. The only like one I could slightly think of was when I would watch Total Drama Island, I would get sort of turned on. I don't know. I tell this to a lot of people. Like, I don't know what turned me on about Total Drama Island, but it did.
I've never seen that show.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I used to love it back in the day. I haven't seen it in a while. So maybe I should like watch it again and let you guys know. Like,
See if it still gets you going.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. What are we most excited about for Pride this year? I'm so excited for Pride.
I think what I'm most excited about is a little sneak peek of something to come. Is that so? Julia's coming down for Pride, so we're finally gonna do our besties episode.
Yes,
where
with
Liz
Liz
come
and
on.
Julia. We're so excited. I'm so excited to like. I feel like we need to like talk with them and ask them like their perspective on us.
Yeah, Julia was like, "So what are we gonna talk about?" And I was like, "Oh, I have no idea. We haven't gotten to that part of it yet.
We'll figure it out, Julia.
I feel like we
got
gotta
you.
do some part of like kind of a little like newlyweds game of test them how well they know us."
Oh my God, that would be so
But
good.
I was like, we
Give
gotta
them
do
some whiteboards.
I was like, we got to do really niche questions because she was like, I don't know what your favorite movie is. And I was like, I don't know what my favorite movie is. So I want to do like
No.
weirdly specific niche questions.
Yeah, that
of,
they
like,
may
what's
know.
their most embarrassing moment? Or like, what's the most douchey thing? I know exactly. One of the questions was, what is the worst thing you've done to your friend? I know exactly what Julia's answer would be. I know what each of our answers would be.
That's so funny. Wait, that's a real. We should do something like a fun
Yeah.
game or something. But yeah, they're coming on, which is so much fun.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so excited for Pride Month this year. I feel like last year, you know, was like my first real Pride Month because the prior one I was in Indiana, and Indiana's not the most prideful. Let's just say that. And so I feel like I was having so many experiences for the first time last year. Like, I cannot believe the first time I ever went to Henrietta Hudson was the day before, like, the actual Pride Parade.
My first time was Pride Day.
Yes, because I am such a regular now there.
Yeah.
Like, I know the bartenders. Like, I love it there. And so I'm excited for this Pride because I just feel a little bit more immersed in this community. Like, I have a little bit more foundation under my feet. I know that I will not be going to the Pride Parade this year. My ass will be going straight to Henrietta's at 2 p.m. when they open their doors.
I know Julia wants to go by real quick, and I was like, I'll go with you.
I
if
hope you
want
guys
to go,
have a
but
great
I
time.
don't want to go.
I'm such a. I hope you guys have a great time. I've learned my lesson from last year.
She asked me what the plan was, and I was like, well, I think we're going to do a similar thing to last year, and then started describing what we did last year. And she was like, you do remember I was there last year? And I was like, all right, I kind of forgot that for some reason.
Yeah. I kind of liked what I like for anybody who is coming to New York Pride or is curious about like things
You can
to
meet
do.
up with us.
Yeah,
you can meet us if you want.
You could totally DM
We
us.
might be a disappointment.
We might be a disappointment. I might be wasted.
We probably will be
Yeah,
wasted.
what I did last year, which I really liked, which I would kind of like to do this year, if we do like the podcast recording early in the morning, or not like early, but
I liked having people over for a little pregame here. I thought that was fun.
So we did like on the Saturday, because if you go out on the Saturday before like the big Pride Parade day and everything, it is just as equally like fun, just not as crowded. So it ended up just like happening like this. My friend Steph, Aaron, and I, we went to a drag show.
Yeah.
We went to a drag brunch, and then Steph was like, this is like your day, like let's do something. So we went to the Cubbyhole, which is another like female queer bar. It's so, I personally didn't like it. It's just not my vibe. There's not enough room in there to dance and stuff.
Fair.
But it was very cute. Like, it's very cute decorated. And then after we went to Henrietta Hudson. And so I loved that first day because like the vibes were there. It just wasn't as crowded.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday we went to the parade, which was
Stressful.
awful. And it was so fucking hot.
It was hot and it's really crowded. And like,
Yes.
it's fun to see, but I don't need to see it again. I'll go see it with you, Julia, because I love you.
Yeah. If somebody had like a very nice apartment that like looked over the parade
Yes.
from a private balcony, invite me. I'm there.
Oh, invite me too, please.
Yes, invite us both.
If we need to deter friends, we'll do that.
Yeah, exactly. But I cannot go again because it just like made me insane last year. Like, I will never forget, guys. This is so embarrassing. We just got into Henrietta Hudson. Of course, it's packed.
Yes.
And so we're trying to get a drink. And let me tell you, it took 45 minutes to get a drink. So I'm on one end of the bar, and
Well, yeah,
Olivia
we all split up to like try
Yes.
and get in at different points.
is on the other end. And I literally was this close to breaking down and crying because all I fucking wanted was just like a freaking drink to have fun. I was crazy. But I know this Pride specifically. So Olivia and I went to this pop-up by this, I don't know whether to I guess I call it a brand. It's called Grotto. They do sapphic pop-ups around the city.
Ooh.
So we went to the one at the Ludlow House. They currently have one at a brewery in Williamsburg. They're also doing like a sapphic getaway the first weekend of June, this current weekend. But like it's like
Slay.
yeah, and so they're kind of like I guess like experiences for like queer people, but like I think they call it sapphic.
Yeah.
You know, so I know because when we had went to the pop-up at the Ludlow House, they said that they are throwing a pride party on the Friday at the Ludlow House, which I'm also sort of interested in going to because the Ludlow House is bougie and pretty and you just buy a ticket and their drinks are so good.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm very interested in that too for this pride specifically.
Slay.
Yes. And then I was supposed to go to a drag brunch this Sunday, but I'm going up into the country, y'all, and taking a break. But I was going to this
The country, you're going to Connecticut.
the country. Going to the lake. But I was
I'm really glad we think we're funny.
I know. I bet people think we're fucking crazy. But yeah, I'm really excited for Pride. Oh, and once I can like share it on my socials, I was in a Pride campaign for a brand this year, which was really fucking cool to be asked to do that, especially because I just think a younger version of myself was like, what the fuck? Like, this is so crazy. So yeah, I'm just excited for Pride Month.
My goal, once again, is just to kiss a woman.
Yes.
I doubt I'll accomplish it because I don't like talking to strangers, and I don't like strangers, and strangers
oh my gosh,
scare
but
me.
everybody at Henrietta's is so nice. I've been trying to make more queer friends, so now I'll just like be like,
Okay,
hey.
here's the thing. I'm perfectly happy to make friends. I'm bad at flirting with people. Flirting with people scares me.
Okay, but like, what if you just like go into it as friend? Like, you take the pressure off of it and just be like, okay, like I'm just gonna go like talk to her like we're friends. Like, you know, like maybe throw a little flirty banter in there.
I'm also iconically bad at knowing when someone's flirting with me. I think the most embarrassing story of it was I went to the grocery store and the girl checking me out was really nice. And I went home and I told my roommate Katie about it. I almost said our roommate. We didn't live together. And I was like, I've been having a really shitty day, but this turned my day around. And Katie was like, you didn't realize she was flirting with you? And I was like, no, she wasn't. Like, Katie, you're straight. Like, I know if a girl is flirting with me. Told that story later in the evening to one of my friends who's gay, and they were like, yeah, no, that girl is flirting with you. And I was like, damn it.
Damn.
Neither of you were even there and you could tell.
Yeah, I don't know if I can tell because
can't.
one time Olivia and I were at Henrietta's and we were just like sitting at the bar, the two of us, and these two girls come up to us and they start talking to us. They start asking about like our astrological signs, and I'm like, oh, I'm a Pisces, like whatever. And then the girl across from me said something, and Olivia goes, well, that's my girlfriend. And I was like,
I can hear Olivia say
yeah.
that.
And I was like, wait. I was like, what did she say? And Olivia's like, it doesn't matter. I was like, oh my God. So I have no idea what the flirt was, but I can't tell. Like, I'm oblivious.
I mean,
I'm also not a good flirter.
I
Like,
said it in last week's episode. I found out after high school that many people I liked me as well, and I couldn't tell, and no one told me.
that's a damn moment.
Damn.
And I think we can't do this episode without acknowledging that there is a lot of violence
And what is the word that I'm
policies.
Yes, policies being made against like queer, both adults and youth, particularly the trans community.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just want to say, like, my heart is with these people. Like, you know, Olivia and I had a really real conversation about this a couple weeks ago where they kind of came to me and was like, I just want the people who love me to be angry about this and to care about this. And it was really an awakening moment for me because I think, and this is not the best quality about me, I avoid a lot of these like really world things that scare me. And having a non-binary trans partner, it's important for me to educate myself about what's going on and to be angry about it. And I think the more and more I read about it, the more angry I get, the more scared I get for the person that I love. It's scary.
It is. And I mean, like, I recognize I come from levels of privilege just from where I live to, like, I am white and I'm like straight passing.
Right.
I have a lot of layers of privilege, and like it's it's scary out there, and like I can't imagine how it is for the people actually going through it.
Right.
And I'm like constantly trying to educate myself and learn what I can do to help. But
yeah, so if you have the resources to educate yourself, to donate, to, you know, like learn about what's going on, do it.
because there's a lot of very scary shit happening.
Yeah.
And like people are attacking trans youths, and
There's no good that's going to come out of any of it.
No.
Like in my
And
mind, that's how I view it.
I'm sending so much love to everyone in the queer community out there.
Yes.
And makes me really angry, the shit that people are doing. And yeah.
Yes. So that is just something we wanted to make sure that we all acknowledge in like, cause Pride is super fun and like whatever, but like at the end of the day, there is an attack on these people in our community. And so that it has to be a real part of all of this too.
And we all need to stand up for them.
Yeah. Period. 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 I was thinking sentence. Period. Period. Right, you guys, let's finish this episode off with a little bit of queer joy. Audrey's getting, this is queer joy coming.
I'm getting golden hour. If you're watching online, I bet I look hot.
You
right
do.
now.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So what are some things that you like love about being queer, or something that's good that's happened to you because you're queer?
Controversial, and I'm mostly kidding.
Okay.
Kind of kidding.
Controversial.
Straight people are fucking boring. Fuck them kids.
Straight people are boring.
Yeah, fuck straight people.
Okay. If you guys have ever seen the TikTok of the person crying and being like, straight people are so boring.
That's
like,
one of our friends.
They're not. Yes. It's one of our friends, Daniel. Shout out Daniel.
I literally, that was the moment that I knew my therapist was the one for me, was I referenced that video, and my therapist
And
was
she
like,
knew.
I know what you're talking about. I was like, that's my friend.
That's a slay. That's a slay.
Like, I'm not being, I have a lot of straight friends, and there's nothing wrong with them.
No,
But,
me
like,
too. I think, yeah, me too. But I also think like a lot of people in their 20s end up experimenting to
Yeah.
some degree, which I think is a great thing.
So many people, I've realized, so many girls specifically, like, I feel like, in my experience of the people I've known, I know a lot more women who come out later in life. And it's been so fun for me to like see my random acquaintances of like, they suddenly all now have girlfriends, and I love that.
Yeah, I know. You know who says this? Ashley Gavin. She's like, the pandemic like made all the females bisexual. She's like, every girl is bisexual now.
I think part of it for me is I'm just like, people are hot, and I think we all care. Like, it's so ingrained. I think we all care too much about like
Heteronormativity.
Yes, and it's so ingrained and whatnot. And I think just people are hot, and like, let people be hot and fuck who you want to fuck.
And that's today's message.
Fuck who you want to fuck, as long as you're all consenting adults. Fuck who you want to fuck.
Yeah. I think what I love about being like queer is that I get to be like my most authentic self. There was a really serious time where I was like, I'm going to the grave
With this shit.
And so there's just a version of myself that didn't know that I could live this like freely and this authentically. I'm in a beautiful queer relationship. I love my partner so much. They are better than any cis man I've ever dated. And that's the tea.
I really love the joke that has been on Tumblr forever of straight people being like, men and women can't be friends, and it's like, okay, so for bisexuals there are no friends, only prey. Also, my hair elastic just snapped, so you're gonna see how it interestingly falls down like still in a braid, but not. It looks really weird, I'm sure. It almost
hair
made
elastic just snapped.
it.
I said I also love that I get to walk like hand in hand with my partner throughout the city, just like being myself, you know.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of joy in it. Like, I mean, sure, there's definitely been like some points where it's been hard, but like I've been so privileged that I came out, and I've had an accepting family and friends.
And like the whole community of people is just really wonderful. And I think like, I hope we all like, and I think we do like push each other to like grow and like reflect on ourselves, and like it makes you examine your like own prejudices and reflect on everything. And like, I think it just like forces you to look outside yourself.
Yeah. And I think something that we were doing like some brand stuff for the podcast network, and something that just like came back to me was this idea of feeling like really proud that we talk about being bisexual and being queer on the podcast, because you know there are so many lifestyle creators that I watch and I enjoy them. However, their lens is very heteronormative, boyfriend girlfriend, when you have a boyfriend one day. And so I hope that people who love lifestyle content, who love like pink and shit and whatever, the girly girls, can listen to this and feel like I am included in this, and that there are people in this podcast space that represent who I am.
Slay.
Mic drop.
You super worn off of me. I can't stop saying slay.
I know. You guys, I have a slay problem. Somebody please give me another word to say that is not slay, because all I do is say slay and I'm annoying my own self at this point. All right. Anyways, if you guys liked today's episode, do not forget to follow us on Instagram at Completely Fucking Clueless.
And on TikTok and YouTube. At Completely FCKING Clueless.
Slay the day. Do not forget to rate and review and
subscribe.
Follow.
Send it to a friend. Send it to a lover. Send it to any gay person
Yes,
you know.
please send it to your queer friends. We would love some more queer girlies, theys and gays, and all the people following. And we hope you guys have an amazing Tuesday. Happy Pride Month!
And don't forget to be gay.
And don't forget to be gay and a motherfucking clueless.
This has been a 58 Ember production. For more shows, please visit the 58 Ember channel, 58ember.com, or find us at 58 Ember Media on socials.